What's up, everybody? This is Josh E. Red from Practical Theism. Just wanted to do a quick reflection on the gospel readings today. Of course, the gospel from Matthew and the reading from the Old Testament from Ezekiel. Ezekiel, it's going over God's words through Ezekiel as he's talking about the path to life and the path not to death. The path to life is through obedience to God and his statutes and doing what is right and just. Because if we look at God, God is love through and through. He's goodness itself. And the way that we become fully alive as people, because if you think back to Irenaeus' quote of the glory of God is a human being fully alive, ultimately that's what he wants. And ultimately that's what we desire innately, because at our deepest natural core, our desire is aligned in a sense with God's, but it's disfigured. We focus on things of the world as opposed to focusing on God's plan and what goodness and love demands of us. God is love through and through. That's why in the gospel reading, it's heavily focused on a portion that's taken from the Beatitudes, primarily focused on love your neighbor, love your enemies too. I mean, there's this strong call and command to love. All the way, and it takes it first. It's not just love those who do good to you, or love those in the measure that they love you back. But no, love those even who hate you. Love those who persecute you. That's the call of the Christian. And that's what's so radically different about Christianity. I know we can look around the world today at everything going on with ISIS and that stuff going on in the Middle East. All the war and oppression, things that are going on in third world countries with hierarchical domination with no middle class. You have the riches and the poors, and it's completely dominated and backwards. And we can look at that and we can say, those people are they're so blah. They're so X, Y, and Z. And that's not what we're called to do as Christians, though. We're called to recognize that we all have faults, and pull the log out of our own eye before we start going and judging and pointing out the log in our brothers. But we're called ultimately to love those who persecute you, to love those who are your enemies. And love demands a willing of their good for their sake, not for your sake, not in the measure that it comes back to you tenfold, not in the measure that, I'm going to do good to this person insofar as they're good to me, but the minute that good stops, then I'm going to stop doing good to them. We're called to love unequivocally, unconditionally. And I think that's where Christ is getting at in the gospel passage, where he's talking about, if you're taking your offering to God and you're mad with your brother, don't offer anything to God yet. Put it down on the altar, go to your brother, reconcile yourself, so you're in right praise and right worship, focusing on God who is love himself, and then go back and put down your offering. It talks about going to court with your brother. Settle on the way to court, lest you be given up to the judge, and the judge hand you over to the guard, and the guard throws you in prison. I think there's a lot of spiritual truth to that as well, as we saw in the other Gospels, with the Our Father in the other reading, where Christ gives us the Our Father, and one of the primary tenets of praying that prayer is forgiveness of our brothers. So I think we should take that away today with, take a look at ourselves and where have we been not loving our enemies? Who is it in our life? Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a friend, a family member that you haven't resolved some stuff with, and you still have this gripe, and every time their name comes up, you're just, you get a bad taste in your mouth about that. Or maybe it's somebody you have a dispute with. Maybe it was a business partner that you fell out of favor with, and you're just, there's so much disdain, there's so much frustration in the relationship. Go and reconcile yourself with them. Go and follow the law of love that demands a focus on their good and their well-being. And in the measure that you do that, and you cooperate with God in that respect, that's the path to life. God came down not to preach. God came down in the form of Jesus, not to just give us some sort of moral functioning society, but to usher in the kingdom of God. And the kingdom of God is about God. It's the kingdom of love, because God is love through and through. And as believers and as people, I think we need to cooperate with that. So anyways, happy Friday. Hope everybody's gearing up for the weekend. And until next time, hit that like button, pound that subscribe button like you mean it, so you can get more of this awesome content from all of us here at Practical Theism. I will catch you next time. Thanks.